So we've talked a bit about holding the space as a facilitator, and you have been practicing this, and holding the space means giving the person enough space to do their work. So there's often a lot of silence in facilitating and a lot of room for the other person to go inward and find their own answers. Holding the space includes not just shouting out what your answers are, but allowing the other person to find their own. And on the other side, holding the space means that you don't let them just go on a leash, like on an endless leash, where they just go on and on and on, maybe getting wrapped up in their story, or they're forgetting to answer the questions. They're just kind of getting distracted. So if you notice that, then part of holding the space is bringing them back to the question. And that's done so easily just by repeating the question in maybe in a different format or the same question again. But I want to mention one other thing, and that is the value of, and not to forget, to just be yourself. Even though you're doing the work with somebody and holding your space, holding the space for them in this way, you it doesn't mean that you have to forget who you are. You don't have to become like a robot, or you don't have to become super rigid or in any way cold or distant. You can still be yourself. You can still laugh. You can still interact with the person in a way that is natural for you. And all of us have different styles of just personality and ways we interact. And so for some of you, it will be just silent, and that's fine. For others of you, it may be more interactive. There may be a little more active listening in terms of, the head nods and the ahas and things like that. If that's natural for you, then be yourself. So you have to find this for yourself. I can't give you a formula for being yourself. It's just be who you are. But I want to give you permission for that, because it's sometimes something that gets overlooked in all the guidelines for facilitating and trying to do it right and all of that. So play with that and notice. You'll feel the difference when you're being yourself in a way that's not interfering with the other person, versus being yourself in a way that may be starting to take over or something like that. You're going to have to find that balance point, because facilitating still does mean holding the space for the other person to do their work. It's about them. But within that, there's a little wiggle room. And I know myself, I tend to be a little conversational at points. Not really conversational, but it sounds like that, because I like the flow of conversation. And so there'll be times when I'm saying just a response, letting them know that I heard what they're saying, or maybe an agreement or something like that. And that's just my way. And so I invite you to play with it, find your way that feels natural to you. And I think that will come across as being natural for the other person who's being facilitated. So as always, the work is a balance between opposites, and that's what keeps it interesting. So I invite you to just play with it.